All right, folks, welcome back to the Crisis Report. It is August 4th, 2025. This one is entitled Israel About to Drop the Hammer? Question mark. Been a lot of stuff going on with Israel as of late, and well, we're going to cover it. We're going to be talking about the cabinet deciding that maybe they should occupy Gaza. We're going to be talking about some other things, some clarity on this story that dropped today about how they're going to hold disaster relief for being anti-Israel. Well, that's been walked back, but still showing some rifts. And then, of course, some other things going on too. Putin seems to be trying to talk right now. India is saying that they're buying oil, not just from Russia, but when you look at economy, their economy, they have to buy, I mean, they buy almost 50% of their oil from Russia. It's right there on their doorstep. So, a lot of things going on with that. There's tariff talk, of course. A lot of things going on with the economy and more. And so we're going to go. And sometimes I like to explain a little bit more. There's a story about this heat blob. Very strange and interesting story, but evidently it's been known for a while. It's like an oozing material under the surface. I thought it was some kind of a reference to our climate, but this thing is under basically most of New England, and it's this, I don't even know what it's an anomaly, as they call it. So we'll talk about that, and that's about it. So hopefully you are having a good Monday, and this is brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. They are our channel sponsor for PrepperNow and the Crisis Report, and we hope you will, just consider if you're thinking about maybe putting things into precious metals. They basically are stewards for an IRA that goes into gold and silver, and they hold on to it, but it is basically yours. They can explain it better than I can, and basically when you go to the affiliate link, you sign up for an educational thing. That's all it is. And at that point, if you like what you hear and you want to proceed, then you start to figure out what that looks like for you. Or you don't like what you hear, you're just going to keep doing what you're doing, and then from there, you turn them down. So just consider it. It is a nice thing to be working with them. Nice to have a good official, well-ranked, well-rated company. Allowing me to say that they're working with me. So we would love to try to have you go over there and give them a shot. And if not, all good too. We're just glad to have you here on the Crisis Report. So this is your Crisis Report, of course, for August 4th, 2025. Here we go. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. That was the earlier one. That was the brief. I'm going to go over here and then go to here, and there you are. Awesome. So hopefully you are catching the briefs. They happen in the afternoon, then we get a little bit later. I'm on island time, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sleeping in. I'm doing this is my last final recharge. So but we're going to talk about it. Prices and everything here are pretty crazy on the islands. Well, we're going to talk about that over on PrepperNow. I'll be going live with PrepperNow after. So let's get going. Russia gasoline prices have hit record highs due to Ukrainian drone strikes on key Russian oil refineries, causing reduced refining capacity and domestic fuel shortages. Prices for gasoline types A192 and A195 have soared nearly 30%. Maybe that's AI92, AI95, whatever. Soared nearly 30% since nearly early 2025. Wholesale prices reaching their highest levels in over a year. The United States is accelerating its program to build a nuclear reactor on the moon, with recent developments highlighting a fast-tracked approach led by interim NASA Administrator and Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. Initiative marks a significant escalation in the U.S. space ambitions, aiming to establish a robust, continuous power supply for lunar missions and future lunar infrastructure. The new plan is to deploy a 100 kilowatt nuclear fission reactor on the moon by 2030, advancing the timeline previously set for the early 2030s. MOVE seeks to ensure reliable power for long-term lunar missions, scientific laboratories, mining operations, habitats, particularly during the moon's 2-week-long nights when solar energy is not available. The push is also motivated by global competition, particularly China, which has announced its own advanced lunar nuclear programs aimed at the early 2030s. U.S. sees this as a second space race, because it is, and is fast-tracking its project to maintain leadership in space exploration. The reactor will build on the technologies tested in NASA's Kilopower project and the current fission surface power initiative, collaborating with both the U.S. Department of Energy and private industry to scale up from previous 40 kilowatt concepts to the more ambitious 100 kilowatt goal. Alexander de Moraes has ordered house arrest for Brazil former President Jair Bolsonaro. Russia claims that the UK and Ukraine are plotting terrorist attacks against oil tankers in international waters to frame Russia and pressure Trump. Over 600 retired Israeli security officials called on Trump to pressure Israeli government to end the Gaza war, according to the Jerusalem Post. 600 members of the Commanders for Israel Security, or CIS, consisting of former senior officials from the IDF, Mossad, Shin Bet, have written a letter to President Trump urging him to pressure Benjamin Netanyahu to stop the war in Gaza due to Israel's desperate situation regarding global legitimacy, according to the Jerusalem Post. Netanyahu has decided to occupy Gaza. Netanyahu has decided to occupy Gaza after his plans to commit the this is from a guy that is anti-Israel. So basically, what he's saying is a G-side and aggressive opposition from the world. The United States has given Israel the green light to initiate powerful military actions in Gaza and likely to annex, indefinitely occupy parts of the Gaza Strip. Netanyahu will have every weapon at his disposal from Trump. So very concerned about that. DHS has updated now its memo and removed the part where the Trump administration is blackmailing U.S. cities and states if they boycott Israel after a massive backlash to the Trump administration cutting off federal emergency funding to cities and states that boycott Israel. DHS has updated its memo to remove the Israel section, now only applying to DEI and immigration violations. There was just a little too much coverage. We had a feeling that was going to happen. And good. They should not blackmail anybody because of an allegiance to a foreign nation, no matter who it is. If a United States state or someone that can draw upon federal funding for an emergency response, your allegiances outside of that to the United States of America shouldn't matter one bit. So, Justice Department is launching grand jury investigation into Russiagate conspiracy allegations. Texas governor has ordered the Texas Department of Public Safety to arrest and return every House Democrat who fled to the Capitol. Directive will remain in effect until all missing members are accounted for, Governor Abbott says. Whoosh. You're welcome. Democrat Representative Delia Ramirez, speaking in Spanish at the summit in Mexico City this weekend, said, "I'm a proud Guatemalan before I am an American." Several pizzerias nearby the Pentagon are experiencing increased traffic. What could that mean? Maybe they're about to drop the hammer. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has ordered the arrest of 57 Democratic House members who left the state to prevent a vote on the redistricting of Texas. Ongoing Ukrainian drone attack against Russian infrastructure is happening. A lot of those lately. Immigrants are leaving the United States workforce en masse. Remittance payments to the U.S. to Mexico are plummeting, down over 2 million from a year ago. Biggest decline by far in 30 plus years, a period that includes a home building depression and a 100-year financial crisis. Texas House Democrats have fled to Chicago to deny GOP's congressional redistricting efforts, opting to use what Texas politicians called a nuclear option. Dozens of Democratic members of the Texas House of Representatives arrived in Chicago on Sunday under threat of fines, arrest, and removal from office to deny Republicans the quorum they need to redraw 5 congressional districts aimed at helping President Donald Trump and the national GOP maintain its narrow House majority in next year's midterm elections. I might add that Illinois is one of the most gerrymandered states in the country. So quite rich that they would be concerned about this. Dems eye special election to redraw California congressional map, igniting a redistricting battle, another state that is over gerrymandered. In response to Republican-led redistricting efforts in Texas, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced a plan to hold a special election in November to redraw the state's congressional map. Proposal, which would empower the state's Democratic-dominated legislature to create a new district map is a direct response to a new Texas map that is expected to give the GOP a gain of 5 House seats in the 2026 midterms. Quote, I'm not going to sit back any longer in the fetal position, a position of weakness, when in fact California can demonstrably advance strength, Newsom said on Thursday. There is an infanticide joke in there somewhere about him being in the fetal position. Fearing Zionism could die amongst Democrats, many party leaders are explicitly breaking with Netanyahu to try to stop anti-Israel attitudes from becoming a litmus test for next year's midterms and the 2028 presidential primaries. China has approved 183 Brazilian coffee exporters to sell directly into its market, boosting Brazil's trade ties with China and sidelining U.S. exporters after new tariffs. Anatar on X, a notable U.S. resisting TFR decline is better than almost any other nation. Let me translate that for you. The United States is faring better than almost all the other larger industrialized nations in their baby-making capacity and trying to keep up with the replacement of people. Excuse me. 20 to 25, U.S. is on track for the lowest TFR decline of any large nation. That's good. That means we're keeping up with our population. United States having a lot of pro-natalist groups likely helping it, like religious people from the Muslim community and the religious communities of Christianity and of course, Latin Americans and stuff like that. They are having babies. As having large share of pop in small towns where TFR decline has been limited. That is the more conservative group of Caucasian Americans. They, amongst others, are doing their best to keep it so America is pumping out the children. An investigation is underway after a man died after being found collapsed whilst in police custody in Greater Manchester. Ellis Rocks, 26, arrested by Greater Manchester police officers at the Britannia Hotel on Almond Brook Road, Standish, Wigan, about 8:35 p.m. last Thursday. Well, he has passed out and is I think he's dead. So Oh, that's wrong. So basically, what it says here is that this guy is. If you thought that the anti-immigration protests were bad in Britain right now, this guy going in to the Greater Manchester Police steed and coming out unalived is going to roil the feathers of basically everybody, and it's going to take a bad situation and pour an ish load of gasoline onto it. So we'll see. Netanyahu moves to fire Attorney General prosecuting him for corruption. This is the first time an Israeli government has ever voted to fire an Attorney General. Move sparked immediate accusations. Netanyahu was seeking to protect himself and his aides. Before the cabinet vote, Supreme Court told the government this procedure for firing the Attorney General was inappropriate and made clear it would issue an injunction if it passed. While the Supreme Court is likely to rule against the government, Netanyahu and his loyalists pushed this move to rally their political base, delegitimize the Attorney General, and put pressure on her to resign. It appears China has flown a third type of sixth-gen tailless fighter design. It isn't clear if this is manned or unmanned, but either way, it is clearly a supersonic, ultra-stealthy air combat aircraft. After being dropped by AIPAC for repeated calls to starve out the population of Gaza, United States Congressman Randy Fine has gone to Jerusalem to pray at the Roman Wall, also known as the Wailing Wall. U.S. President Donald Trump was booed at the WWE SummerSlam 2025 MetLife Stadium, New Jersey. Trump is losing his populist magic. These are the consequences of becoming Israel first over America first. Yep. Hillel Baton Rosen, Israeli Channel 14, says the decision to annex Gaza entirely has not yet been made. Rosen says majority of the cabinet approved the plan. The decision will be made tomorrow in a follow-up security cabinet meeting at the Kiryat. Netanyahu's press office has announced a security cabinet meeting for tomorrow, confirming Hillel Baton Rosen's report. No decision on the Gaza annexation plan has been made yet. It will be made tomorrow. Trump administration has removed the language requiring states not to allow the boycotting of Israel to be eligible for disaster funds. The section discriminatory prohibited boycott means refusing to deal, cutting commercial relations, or otherwise limiting commercial relations, specifically with Israeli companies or with companies doing business in or with Israel, or authorized by, licensed by, or organized by under the laws of Israel to do business. Well, that part has been removed. But as this guy says here, and he is correct, it still bars recipients from operating programs that benefit illegal immigrants. And also, just because they removed it doesn't mean they're going to not be picky and choosy, and you know what I mean? So I don't know. This whole thing has not been good. It's been kind of brewing under the surface, but you know, you can't hold back American disaster funds because your feelings on a foreign country, no matter who it is. Former CNN host Jim Acosta is now interviewing an AI-generated version of a deceased Parkland school shooting victim, part of a push for gun control. Good luck with that, Jim Acosta. Maui Emergency Management Agency is warning the public about an out-of-control brush fire burning dangerously close to homes in the Kanapali area, with evacuation orders now expanding. Is this the start of New York City? UK scientists have discovered a massive blob of rock underneath the Appalachian Mountains that's slowly oozing its way towards New York City, per a slimy new study published in the journal Geology. Thermal upwelling has long been a puzzling feature of North American geology. Study's lead author, Tom Gernon, professor of earth science at the University of Southampton, said in a statement, officially dubbed the Northern Appalachian Anomaly, or NAA. Subterranean slime ball sits 125 feet deep underground and extends 220 miles across New England. Pretty interesting. Since the start of the year, big tech has shed over 100,000 jobs. Surely some of these layoffs are just standard corporate belt tightening, but it is now clear that AI is impacting the job market, and entry and mid-level workers are being hit the hardest. Underscores a defining question of our time. Will AI lead to widespread unemployment, or will it create new opportunities and industries that we can't yet imagine? So far, AI is displacing jobs faster than new ones are being created. Displacement of workers through automation is nothing new. Energy technologies upend legacy companies and industries and usher in new organizations with better jobs with higher pay. It's a cycle that's been dubbed creative destruction by economist Joseph Schumpeter. Russia has sent an unusual message to Tehran, warning of a possible joint military attack by the U.S. and Israel on Iranian soil, which could take place in the near future. Moscow sent the message through direct diplomatic channels, expressing serious concern about an uncontrolled regional escalation. Checking the chat. Okay, cool. Sometimes I'll look over on the chat. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. And there'll be like no one there, and like, yeah, you've been taken down. It is what it is. So, yeah, Russia sent an unusual message to Tehran. Moscow sent the message direct diplomatic channels. Under orders from Supreme Federal Court, Minister Alexander de Moraes, police seize the cell phones of former President Jair Bolsonaro. Federal police of Brazil confiscated the cell phones of former President Jair Bolsonaro, part of the house arrest order issued by the minister. Measure was taken in response to the violation of imposed restrictions after detecting activity on social media through accounts managed by his sons. Police also seized the cell phone of Michelle Bolsonaro, the wife of the former president, even though she is not currently under investigation. Minister Alexander de Moraes also prohibited Jair Bolsonaro from receiving visitors except for his lawyers without prior authorization from the Supreme Federal Court. Visitors who are authorized are expressly forbidden from using cell phones, taking photos, or recording videos. That whole thing is getting escalated. According to sources, U.S. President Donald Trump has already been informed that Supreme Federal Court STF Justice Alexander de Moraes has issued the arrest warrant for Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. And there are reports in Lebanon that Hezbollah is preparing to ignite widespread riots across the country if the proposal to disarm the organization passes tomorrow in the Lebanese government meeting. So, there is that. Yep. Okay. That is your crisis report for August 4th, 2025. Sincerely appreciate you being here. Hopefully you're liking the briefs in the afternoon. Good amount of intel today. Gosh, we had a 13-minute and a 24-minute or so. But yeah, appreciate you being here. Hit the like button and stuff. Do the subscribe thing if you're new here. And we're just going to keep pumping it out. And it is what it is. I'm in a good way right now. I'm sure I'll be butthurt and angry and mad at the platform and screaming about them on here for the first 2 minutes sometime in the next 3 to 5 days. So we'll just accept these wonderful wins right now. We are brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. So maybe you've noticed that the world's financials are doing very interesting things. It might Well, just might make it so you got to work harder and longer. So if you're thinking about changing your IRA into gold and silver, give them a shot. They're in the description. Other than that, friends, join us on Twitter, X, Gab, Minds, Truth Social, Subscribe Star, and Locals that I've been populating a good amount lately. Or you can become a member here. Be like J Flow or Minuteman and support the cause, which is good information consistently, no matter what, good, bad, or indifferent. So, love to have you join up there. It's a couple bucks a month. Won't change it. It's just, it is what it is. So, and if you're not and you can't do it, and you're like, holy crap, I need that $2 to pay for, 1/5 of a lunch. I get it. So you can keep coming back. We're for everybody. You don't got to be here. Nothing. You can get all this information, no matter what, for free. So we as we say here, I am the product. If you like what we're doing, you might kick me a little something for the effort from time to time, and if not, well, we'll eventually go away. No plans on that right now, friends. God bless. We will see you on the next one. Thank you very much. PrepperNow is about to go live.